The lore of Iron Lung revolves around a singular mystery, the Quiet Rapture. We know the outcome of this event. Every star and habitable planet in the known universe vanished, or at least disappeared from any form of perception, leaving behind only barren moons, asteroids, and the remnants of humanity stranded on space stations and starships. With resources and hope dwindling, the Consolidation of Iron, one of the factions of survivors, sends the expendable into oceans of blood discovered on these leftover moons, desperate to find anything that might sustain what remains of the human race. However, one question remains unanswered within the narrative of Iron Lung itself. What caused the Quiet Rapture? What happened to everything that vanished? And more specifically, what happened to Earth? The assumption has always been that Earth simply ceased to exist, deleted from reality alongside the stars. But another game by David Szymanski, Butcher's Creek, may offer some answers. On the surface, it's a first-person melee horror game set in a decaying backwoods town. Look closer at its narrative, text logs, and environmental details, though, and a connection to Iron Lung begins to emerge. Based on the evidence found within the game, it appears that Butcher's Creek depicts Earth in the aftermath of the Quiet Rapture. While Iron Lung shows us what happened to the spacers, those who looked out of windows to see the stars go out, Butcher's Creek reveals what became of the world they left behind, a planet plunged into eternal night. This analysis will examine the narrative of Butcher's Creek, dissect the specific documents that bridge the two games, and propose a unified timeline for this universe. Part 1. The narrative of Butcher's Creek. To understand the connection, we must first look at the events of Butcher's Creek in isolation. The game takes place in a world where the sun has already vanished, Earth shrouded in permanent darkness. The player controls an unnamed drifter who travels to an abandoned stretch of the Appalachian Rust Belt, drawn by rumors of illicit videotapes, recordings of real death. The protagonist isn't here to expose anything, by the way. He wants these tapes for his own enjoyment. But things go south for him when the murderous cult producing these tapes out of an abandoned factory decides he'll be their next subject. We soon learn that the cultists create these VHS tapes not as trophies or products for sale, but as offerings to an entity known as the Watcher. The cult believes this entity must be satiated with these offerings, fed a constant stream of suffering, or it will break free and end the world. This creates the first thematic parallel to Iron Lung. In Iron Lung, people are sent to die so survivors might find resources to live. In Butcher's Creek, people are killed to keep something imprisoned. Both worlds run on sacrifice, one desperate, one devotional. As the player pushes deeper into the facility, from forest to factory to basement to spaces that twist beyond normal geometry, it becomes clear the cult is worshipping something real. The cult's writings speak of a prophecy, a figure called the Tooth Sower, who would arrive during a time of doubt, destroy the cult, and free the Watcher, triggering the end of the world. The player, of course, does exactly that. By fighting his way through the cult to escape, he fulfills the prophecy without ever intending to. He reaches the Watcher, he frees it. And then, in what the game calls Crimson Communion, the Watcher attacks him, some vast, shapeless horror charging from the dark. But instead of dying, he merges with it. The final text tells us the world ends in moonlight. Part 2. The Unified Timeline. David Szymanski has confirmed that Butcher's Creek is set in the same universe as two of his other horror games, Squirrel Stapler and The Pony Factory. Squirrel Stapler follows a man in a remote cabin who encounters an eldritch forest entity called the Goat of the Woods. The Pony Factory is about a man who made a deal with Hell to build a factory that transforms humans into twisted pony-like creatures. Both are dark, absurd, and don't end well for anyone involved. In Butcher's Creek, the connections become explicit. The cult's headquarters is built around the ruins of a second pony factory. The player character is revealed to be a descendant of the Squirrel Stapler protagonist. This establishes a timeline of escalation. Squirrel Stapler and the Pony Factory represent isolated incidents, individuals tampering with forces beyond their understanding. Then, somewhere between these events and Butcher's Creek, the sun goes out, and by the end of Butcher's Creek, something even worse is unleashed upon whatever is left of humanity. So that's how Butcher's Creek connects to Szymanski's other horror games, a shared universe of escalating darkness. But what about Iron Lung? The most critical piece of evidence regarding the Iron Lung connection is found in the opening text scroll of Butcher's Creek. It reads, "It came to pass that the celestial ball of sinners grew so large as to block out the very sun, and somehow life went on. Humanity marched forward through all the torments of hell and the schemes of its exiles, and laughed. For no one laughs harder than a sinner in hell. There is no mirth greater than that of the madman. This offers the ground-level view of the quiet rapture, or at least it's hard to read it any other way. Same creator, same celestial vanishing, same cosmic catastrophe. The similarities are too striking to ignore. In Iron Lung, the lore states that stars and habitable planets vanished, along with everyone on them. But Butcher's Creek complicates this. People on Earth clearly survived. They're living in the aftermath, years into a sunless world. So what actually happened? Why can't the humans of Iron Lung see them? One possibility, the quiet rapture didn't destroy anything. Instead, it separated everything. Reality fractured into isolated pockets, each with different remnants. In the Earth pocket, the planet survived, but the sun was blocked out. In the space pocket, no sun, no Earth, no stars, no habitable planets, just barren moons, asteroids, and whatever ships and stations happened to be out there at the time. Both groups survived. Neither knows the other exists. And here's the strange part. If the sun were truly blocked, no light, no heat, Earth would have frozen. But it didn't. Life continues, somehow sustained in its darkened pocket. Whatever separated these realities may also be sustaining them, keeping Earth alive in its darkness, keeping the spacers drifting through their empty void. Part 3. The nature of the quiet rapture. The opening crawl tells us what happened. The sun was blocked, reality possibly fractured, humans endured. But scattered throughout Butcher's Creek are pages from the cult's sacred text. And these documents reveal something. The cult was expecting the quiet rapture. Their holy books describe the sun vanishing long before it actually happened. Book of Signs, passage 4 reads, "Take joy, my brothers, when the time comes for the sun to be veiled, for in that endless night your efforts will be rewarded tenfold." Book of the Apocalypse, passage 11 is even more explicit. "By the vanishing of the sun, by the death of the traitorous prophet, and by the coming of the toothed sower, you will know the day and the hour of ruin is upon you." In Iron Lung, the scientists treat the quiet rapture as a mystery, some unknown cosmic anomaly, but these texts knew it was coming. The vanishing wasn't random. It was foretold. Conclusion: a universe in decay. By connecting Butcher's Creek to Iron Lung, we get a fuller picture of the apocalypse, or at least, a possible one. The timeline begins with the encroachment of the supernatural. Squirrel Stapler, the Pony Factory, small horrors bleeding into reality. Then the sun goes out. By the time of Butcher's Creek, humanity has been living in darkness for years. And by the end of it, the Watcher is freed, a second catastrophe for an already doomed world. If the connection holds, then somewhere in the chaos, reality fractured. Earth and the spacers were separated into pockets that can't perceive each other. Decades later, we arrive at Iron Lung. The stars are gone. Earth is unreachable. The COI and Eden drift through a dead universe, sending the expendable into oceans of blood, searching for anything that might help them survive. Butcher's Creek may answer the question Iron Lung never could. What happened to Earth? It wasn't destroyed. It's still out there, trapped in darkness, ravaged by forces that were always waiting for the light to go out. The quiet rapture wasn't an end. It may have been a separation. And in the universe of David Szymanski, no matter which pocket you're trapped in, something is watching, something is hungry, and the lights aren't coming back on.